welcome. If you are just a regular subscriber, thank you so much for returning, and I hope you're enjoying this content. Okay, so my hair looks a little crazy. It's just one of those days I have time to record some videos, so I'm gonna do that while my baby is asleep. Okay, so today's topic is going to be a little different. This is something that I don't ever do, but this is something I have been wanting to cover, and stuff like this. I want to start covering. I know this page is for like surrogacy, but if you are like an OG watcher, you know that when I first started this channel, I said I wanted to, expand to like, other things. So this is one of the things I probably would do like a video like this once a month on like, hot topics or something that's like going really viral, that's like not really related to surrogacy or motherhood. Well, this one is related to motherhood. So, I guess it does kind of like revolve around my content a little bit. So with that being said, let's jump on into it. After seeing what social media has turned the death of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells into, I wanted to make a video that contains facts, not theories, not rumors, and not accusations. Because regardless of what happened to Nolan, there is a family grieving their child while thousands of strangers on the internet are trying to solve his death in real time. Here's what we actually know. Nolan was 18 years old. He attended Southwest Mississippi Community College and played wide receiver on the school's football team. On July 4th, 2026, Nolan traveled by boat with friends to Horn Island, a barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, to celebrate the 4th of July. Records show the boat left the Ocean Springs area around 9:56 that morning and arrived at Horn Island around 11:14. Authorities say Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m. The friends he traveled with eventually returned without him. According to statements provided to investigators, Nolan's friends said he chose to remain on the island and planned to return with other people. Nolan's family and their attorneys have questioned that account because they say there are conflicting statements about what Nolan intended to do. Another confirmed fact is that the boat Nolan had traveled on experienced mechanical problems and began taking on water. A call was made to Sea Tow around 4 p.m. reporting that the boat was sinking. Nolan was reported missing that night. Multiple agencies eventually became involved in the search, including the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the Coast Guard, and the National Park Service in Mississippi's Department of Marine Resources. On that morning of July 6, 2 days after Nolan disappeared, his body was discovered in the water near the northwestern end of Horn Island. Authorities initially said they suspected Nolan may have drowned. But this part is extremely important. As of right now, an accidental drowning has not been established as Nolan's official cause of death. Nolan's family hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump and commissioned an independent autopsy. The preliminary findings from that autopsy was released on July 22nd. The cause of death was undetermined pending further investigation. The matter of death undetermined pending further investigation. The independent pathologist did not find fractures or severe deep tissue injuries. But because Nolan's body was decomposed by the time of the second autopsy, the pathologist explained that some injuries could have been difficult to detect. The pathologist also reported an area of red discoloration in the soft tissue behind Nolan's head and ears. What caused that discoloration has not been determined. The pathologist could not rule out foul play, but, and this is equally important, that does not mean the pathologist determined that foul play occurred. Those are two completely different statements. Mississippi State Medical Examiner has also completed an autopsy, but those findings have not been publicly released. And if you've seen a supposed toxicology report floating around social media, Mississippi officials have that the report is fake. There has also been AI-generated images, false documents, rumors, accusations, and entire theories presented online as though they're confirmed evidence, but they're not. As of now, authorities have not announced any suspects or arrests in connection to Nolan's death. The investigation remains ongoing, and the case is expected to be presented to a grand jury after that investigation is complete. And I think this is where social media needs to remember something. Wanting answers for Nolan is completely understandable. Questioning inconsistencies is understandable. Wanting his family to receive a thorough and transparent investigation is understandable. But creating evidence, spreading fake documents, threatening people, or stating theories as facts does absolutely nothing to help Nolan's family find out what happened to their son. In fact, 3 people who are apparently had no personal connection to Nolan, his family, or the boating group, has now been charged in connection with threats against people associated with this investigation. So let's think about it. Imagine losing your 18-year-old child, and before you even have an official answer about how your child has died, the internet has turned his death into entertainment. Nolan Wells was a real person. He had parents, he had family, he had friends, he had a future. There are legitimate unanswered questions surrounding his death, but an unanswered question is not evidence of murder. And a theory represented thousands of times on TikTok does not suddenly become a fact. Until investigators and forensic experts establish what happened, the most responsible thing we can do is, until investigators and forensic experts establish what happened, the most responsible thing we can say is, Nolan Wells died under circumstances that are still being investigated. His cause and matter of death remain undetermined based on the independent autopsy, and his family deserves answers based on evidence, not a social media circus. So to wrap this up, my heart goes out to Nolan Wells' family, first and foremost, especially his mother. I cannot imagine, losing a child in a way where you're confused, you're hurt, you want answers. And I get that 1,000%. I do hate how the internet is trying to paint this mother as a bad person. Put yourself in her shoes. You were waking up at 11 o'clock at night from your son's friends saying, hey, have you heard from Nolan? And your immediate thought is, well, I thought he was with you guys. So what do you mean, have I heard from him? Like, you just imagine getting a call like that. Like, your brain is going to go everywhere. And then losing a child is just heartbreaking in itself. You're confused. She's probably thinking like, what if I said no to going out? Or what if I would have went with him? Or what if our family went with him? What if he stayed home with us? Like, there's just so many things going through her mind. So give her some grace. The internet is really trying to bash this woman. This is her son, first and foremost. I don't care about, the friends and all that stuff. Like, this woman birthed that child. That was her child, her baby. She's been with him from day one, so just have some empathy for the family. Keep your thoughts, to the facts. And I do hope and pray that, her son gets the justice he deserves. And, hopefully some real answers come out soon for this family. So that way it can wrap this case up and this family can heal in private.